My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. I have never, and I mean this when I say it, I have never, ever, ever regretted getting on here and saying I was right more than I am right now. It actually brings me pain. Because every time I do something like this, it always comes across as smug. It always comes across as arrogant. All the things they tried to say Obama was on, they put that on the kid's side of the bond. And they'll say nasty things about the kid. So I really want to drive home the fact that I am in literal pain having to make this video because I'm tired of always being right. I really am. When you see something in the preseason, and this is baggage from other channels, Nets Republic, y'all don't deserve this, but it is what it is. My entire YouTube career, every time I try to explain something, individuals will look upon me and say, Sever, you don't know what you're talking about. And it always comes to the same thing. At the end of the season, we look back at the tape and we say, oh, Sever was right. But does it mean anything? Because in the moment, you shoved me down the stairs. So does it mean anything? Do I get any satisfaction from being right? No, I don't. Because the result is my team is trash. We're going to save Steve Nash second because that is going to be the duration of the video. But what I want to start with is the fact that I have been trying to tell y'all since before we traded Harden. If we don't get our stuff together, the Hawks are going to pass us in the standings. And y'all were talking so spicy at me even before I was on Nets Republic. Y'all just sat there on your high horses and said, oh, Sever, the Nets aren't going to fall that down low. It's fine. They're not going to free fall. We got Kevin Durant. We got Kyrie Irving. It's going to be okay. No. You just don't know basketball. Steve Nash isn't that. How about now? Am I right now? Do I have your attention now? Please. Please, tell me. Tell me. Do I get to be right now? I have been trying to tell y'all for months if we don't get it together, the Hawks are going to catch us. And when this game was coming up on the schedule, I said, y'all got to stop sleeping on the Hawks. All y'all said, oh, Sever, who cares about the Hawks? The Hawks ain't even that good. The Hawks ain't even that good. When it was clear that we were destined for the play-in tournament, I said, God help us. I hope we don't have to play the Hawks. And y'all sat there and said, oh, the Hawks ain't there. I've been trying to warn y'all for months. But nobody listens. Nobody ever listens to me. Nobody ever listens to me. I have been trying to tell you, the last thing we want is to see the Hawks in the play-in. The last thing we want is a win or go home against that little blankety blank Trey that be shivering and shimmying from half court. That is the last thing we want. I tried to tell you about Red Velvet. I tried to tell you about the new and improved John Collins with locks. I've been trying to tell y'all for the longest time. I've been trying to tell you about the point guard off the bench right. I've been trying to tell you Sweet Lou been cooking. I've been trying to tell y'all about Danilo Gallinari. That man is still nice. I have been trying to tell you. Thank God John Collins is hurt, because it would have been worse. That's number one. Number two, I have been trying my hardest to get y'all to understand that it is not a shot at Kevin Durant. We'll get to Kyrie in a second. This is not a shot at Kevin Durant when I say that with his infinite greatness, it is not enough. He either has to consistently be dropping 50, but against good teams, it's not going to matter. Now, I understand for some reason no one takes the Hawks seriously, even though they've been hurt or had COVID the entire year, and now they're for the most part healthy, so if they're back on their shenanigans, I think they won like 5 games in a row at home. But it's not enough. Kevin Durant scoring 53 was not enough to win. But here's the deeper dive on that. Because it's not just the poo-poo on Kevin Durant session, because it's not. It has nothing to do with Kevin. He could not have played any better. There's just no indictment on Kevin Durant. This is Steve Nash's doing. And I'm tired of the metaphors. I have given you a cute metaphor at least 5 games in a row of trying to explain why he's trash, but I'm done with it. I'm just slandering him now because I don't need to prove it any longer. If ISO KD was spammed from jump ball to the end of the game, they spammed ISO KD so much the man ended up with 53. If 53 points from Kevin Durant with him taking almost every shot is not enough to win the game, then we need to retire these ISO. But is this Mike Woodson? We have to retire these plays. Draw something else. And for the life of me, I don't get how Steve Nash is getting away with this, and I don't understand how some of y'all are still defending it. How are some of y'all still Now, for casuals who don't watch the game or maybe only watch when we're on national TV or something like that, I can understand if you want to point the finger in other directions and stuff like that. If you want to put the blame on, it's because Patty Mills isn't shooting well. Yes, that has a lot to do with it, but it's not the only reason here. It's not the main reason here. Yes, we were fouling quite a bit, but that's not the main reason. That's not what got us here to begin with. We're ignoring the Kyrie part-time saga. We're ignoring the fact that we got nothing back in the summer for any of the pieces we gave up. We're ignoring the fact that we waited until the trade deadline, the literal trade deadline, to get rid of Harden and get Benson. We could have been did this and flipped Kyrie, but that's not here or there. We're going to ignore all that stuff and just focus on tonight and Steve Nash. Steve Nash, Stephen Richard Nash, had the audacity, after he was literally pressed by reporters on some Cardi B press, literally pressed by reporters. Why are you playing James Johnson? Where's Blake Griffin? Steve Nash replied with, well, Blake Griffin is better at the 5. We actually saw Blake Griffin today, but it was only because we had 2 individuals hurt. Three, Seth Curry, Dragic, Bruce Brown. So we saw Blake Griffin, and that was dope. We got to see Blake Griffin. But where did he play? Blake Griffin played at the 3, next to James Johnson and Claxton. But didn't Steve Nash just say last game that Blake Griffin will exclusively be at the 5 because that's where he's the best? So what'd you play him at the 3 for? Steve Nash is literally out there like that. And if you're wondering, LaMarcus Aldridge still didn't play. If you're a casual, you'll sit there and look at the box score and say, well, if Cam Thomas would have scored more, let's not act like that's the reason why we're here. Speaking of James Johnson, not only did Kevin Durant play the entire second half again, he only got a couple minutes rest in the second quarter because he played the whole 4. So Kevin basically played the whole game again. I don't know what he's going to have left in the playoffs, but that's not even there. Kyrie played the entire fourth quarter yet again. But you want to know who else played the entire fourth quarter? At center at that. James friggin' Johnson. It's laughable. It's literally a stand-up traveling comedy show. The fact that Steve Nash, after all of us pressed him, and again, it's not like we just sent a couple tweets. Go back to last video. They literally asked him about this in the post-game. And he acknowledged, yes, I'm having to play him a lot. And we told him it's not a good idea. So this man decides to let him play at center for the remainder of the fourth quarter, for the entire fourth quarter. No Drummond. Claxton got in at the very, very end. No Blake, no LaMarcus, no Day'Ron Sharpe. What'd you call him up for from the G League if you're not going to let him play? Why are you calling up Duke Jr. if you're not going to let him play? They started Kessler Edwards, but did the same thing they always do. They let him play 30 seconds and then yanked him so Patty Mills can go out there and brick for an hour. I mean, it's just It's just so mind-boggling how Steve Nash is getting away with this. And it's like, it seems like every time we overcome a hurdle, there's something else preventing us from making it across the bridge to be decent. We're sitting in trash and we're just trying to get to decent at some point. First, it was Kyrie's not legally able to play. Then James Harden literally quits on the team. But then it's just Kevin Durant because Kyrie can't legally play. Then Kyrie can legally play, but it's Ramadan, so who knows what's going on with him and how that's affecting his poor shooting performance tonight, but we can't even go into that because that's religious and I don't want to cross a line or something like that, but there's always a line. And even when you look past all the shenanigans of player availability and who is able to play, you have to go to the person in charge of putting the players out there and who gets to play, and that's Steve Nash. And it's not just rotations. I'm serious, it's not just rotations. And promise me, if you didn't actually watch the game and all you did was look at the box score, you are not going to comment down below, well, who else was going to score the ball? No one was able to. There was a sequence of 5 consecutive possessions where Kevin Durant was just taking TLC in the post. Now, was it successful? Yes, most of the time. But then after that, there were multiple more possessions in a row of Kevin Durant just coming down court and hoisting from basically half court. One shot was so off it hit the side of the backboard. I thought Paul George made a cameo. It's just, and again, that's no shot at Kevin Durant. It's just, that's clearly our game plan. The game plan is just ISO KD. And then when Kevin Durant gets bored or tired or he needs a rest, he doesn't go to the bench. He just lets Kyrie shoot. And everyone else just stands and watches. Even when Kevin Durant passes the ball out, he cuts and just gets the ball back for a dunk, which again is cool, but that is not team basketball. And it is insane how a 2-time MVP, who is considered one of the greatest pass-first point guards of all time, cannot understand the basic concept of ball movement. I mean, it leaves me flabbergasted. I just don't get how Steve Nash is getting away with this. And I'll tell you this, if y'all have not given up yet, more power to you, but I got something for y'all. Ooh, I got something for y'all. Hold up. Here's the towel. I threw it. I'm done. I'm giving up. I think statistically it is impossible for us to miss the play-in tournament because the other teams are just that bad. I think it's impossible for us to miss it at this point. Not that it's been clinched, but the chances of them losing every other game from here on out is very small. So I consider it a clinched play-in tournament seed. But seriously, don't at me on Twitter. Don't DM me on Instagram. Don't comment. Well, you can comment whatever you want on the video because it's not my channel. But you know what I mean. Don't come at me with some, oh, they just got to put it together and they're going to really do some great things. Like, I'm so tired of hearing people say things like, well, the Brooklyn Nets have a chance to be the first ever play-in seed to win a championship. Oh, please, a championship. We might not make it out the play-in at this point. If we play the Hawks, it's a wrap. Even if we get past the Hawks, it's the same thing we talked about last video after our last most recent L. We're going to play one of the top tier teams. That's a Miami. That's going to be Milwaukee. What just happened when we just played the Bucks last game? When was the last time we beat Milwaukee? Oh, yes, that would be game 5 of the second round, where Kevin Durant had to literally drop 49 along with Jeff Green, and one of those individuals is no longer with the team. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell y'all. I know it sucks. Like, nothing about this is fun. It sucks that we're in this position, but we need to realistically look at the fact that this ain't working. And whatever your suggestion is, throw them out there. Really have a field day throwing the darts at the dartboard. But if you ask me, it starts with firing Steve Nash. Personally, I do it now, but, cool. You want to wait? Sure. He has to be gone. I'm not saying all of our problems are solved if Steve Nash gets fired, but it is a step in the right direction. I promise you, it's a step in the right direction. And if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are uncomfortable having an actual coach in the locker room, tough, Nets Republic, I can't say it, tough chest muscles. Like really, tough. Because what we're doing right now is not working. And it hasn't been working, and now we are seeing the results of it. We are reaping what we sowed. Everything that I've been saying all season of, if we don't fix this, it's going to get wild. If we don't address this, it's going to get wild. If we leave this unchecked, it's going to get wild. Never forget that this is the same organization. When given an open roster spot in the buy-in market, we chose Dragic. Don't let it be forgotten. Don't let it be forgotten that we had an offseason where we had an option of Oglethorpe. We could have kept Bembry. I mean, just options galore. Never forget that we chose Paul Millsap over Alize Johnson, and Paul Millsap is on the Sixers now. Just never forget the decisions we made this offseason. Because it's coming back. LaMarcus Aldridge is occupying a roster spot right now, and he's not playing. Blake Griffin is occupying a roster spot right now, and he's not playing. If you don't have confidence in them, then why did we re-sign them? I promise you, there is not a human being on this earth that I personally detest more than Steve Nash in this current moment in time. I promise you that, living or dead. I hate Steve Nash that much. Now, Nets Republic doesn't feel that way. Nets Republic feels neutral about the situation, and the Nets will go get him next time. But Sever the Bond has had enough. This was the most pathetic loss I have ever seen. And yes, the Hawks are good. Yes, the Hawks are incredible. But if we have a star player that's capable of dropping 53 points, you don't lose that game. Especially when individuals view us as a title contender, we don't lose this game. But then it all comes full circle. To me, having to unfortunately wear the crown of I was right. I've been trying to tell you we are not a championship contending team. I've been trying to tell you that just Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant is not going to be enough against the top tier teams. Apparently, it's not even enough to get past the Hawks. I've been trying to tell you that Steve Nash has no idea what he's doing, and he will be one of the many reasons as to why this season just goes up in flames. And I have been trying to tell you for the longest time this entire season, and we won't know it until after the play-in, because at this point, I'm not even sure we make the regular playoffs. But once this season is officially capped off and over, and we go up and down the roster, and we take a moment and realize how many people are on one-year minimums, and what we have left to work with after we're done paying Kevin Durant and most likely Kyrie Irving again. That will be the final nail in Why Didn't Anyone Listen to Me? The musical, presented by Nets Republic. I will see y'all later. I've talked enough. They really don't deserve this much coverage, I'll be honest with you. Such a pathetic loss. I mean, like, the last loss to the Bucks was a red flag enough. This is pathetic. You don't lose like this in front of Quavo and Rich Homie. No, not Rich Homie. Who was that? Rich the Kid. Yeah, Rich the Kid. And someone else. I don't know these people, but that's not neither there. They're trash. And there's a lot of four-letter words I feel like using, but Nets Republic love the kids. Sever the Bond hates Steve Nash.